Good morning, my loves. I bet you thought I forgot about making these videos, but I didn't. I have been going through photographs, and I'm going to be using those for some of the stories kind of in the future. What I wanted to talk to you about today is something that happened in 1969. And as I was sort of writing down some of the stories that I wanted to tell you about things that happened in my childhood, this kind of came up in my head, and I thought, oh, I have to go research this. So I did. I make these videos for my grandchildren who are flung far and wide, and I am 70 years old, and my name is Catherine. And if you don't have a grandmother, I can certainly become yours too and give you some crazy stories, because that is exactly what this is going to be. So, in June of 1969, I think I was 14. I'm pretty sure I was 14. You have to do the math. I was born in 56. Around there somewhere. Anyway. And a thing came on the TV. And it was that a woman in, I do believe it was Port Neches. Port Neches is a teensy-weensy little town by Port Arthur. And all you kids are going to know where that's at. Or I hope you do. Anyway, so on Avenue C, and there was a woman named Leah, and I can't remember her last name right now, but she was brushing her hair outside of her house under a tree. And which is really funny because Leah was 70 at the time, and I'm 70 when I'm telling you the story. I guess I'm 71, really and truly. But anyway, so as she was brushing her hair, Leah noticed that there was a picture or an image of Christ on her screen door. Well, this caused quite a ruckus. And now you've got to know, for all the rest of you that don't know this, is that Port Neches is a teeny little town. Teeny little town. And I can't even imagine what the demographic was back then as far as population, but it's still not that big now. So, excuse me, I've had a cold. And so she showed her neighbors this. And sure enough, the neighbors saw all of this too. Now, I kid you not, if you will look up Texas sighting Jesus on the screen door, it will come up and it will show you the stuff online, because I did go back to look and research it out a little bit. So anyway, it was amazing. It was amazing, and it went viral, as far as viral could go back then, because viral was the newspapers and the radio and TV. I don't recall seeing too much of this on the TV. Hang on. Sorry. I don't recall seeing too much of this on the TV, except for our Channel 4, Channel 6, and Channel 12 at the time. There was just those three. Just those three. And they took a picture of all the people who were there. And it was estimated that 50,000 people went through her yard to see Jesus on the screen. And later on, if they got some, by the amount of business that went through Port Neches, they were thinking it was maybe a little bit more like 400,000 that actually came to Port Neches. And of course, being a Catholic at the time, that was something I wanted to see. I wanted to see that so bad. But my mother would not let us go. She said that if Jesus was going to come, he wasn't going to come on a screen. But I just felt like that was a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity to go and see a phenomenon like this. But she held her ground, and we weren't allowed to go. Oh, gosh. really want you to know that I feel like I missed out on something. I still feel that way today. Today, I still feel like I should have been able to go and see that Jesus on the screen. Now, I don't know that, and I don't remember this at all, that people who did get to see the Jesus on the screen were interviewed, but I know in the newspaper it said that a lot of the people saw the Jesus on the screen. And I know that light and oil and humidity and all these things play havoc with our way of looking at things sometimes. Like right now, I've got a cold. I've got a cold. And it really does play havoc with the way that I'm doing things, because at 71 with a cold, if you do things too early after the cold starts or this or that or the other, it will stay forever. And I don't recover anymore as quickly as I did once. And I'm not quite as full of energy as I once was. So, back to Jesus. So I didn't get to see Jesus on screen because my mom held her ground. But still, I should have been able to go see Jesus on the screen. I want you to know this is one of the biggest resentments of my entire life, that I didn't get to go see Jesus on the screen. And maybe he was there, maybe he wasn't. I don't know. Maybe he was only supposed to be there for Leah. Maybe she needed to see this. And so many times, whenever I see things that I consider to be a miracle, and believe you me, every time we had a child, every time we had a grandchild, that I got to be there for, those were miracles. Those were miracles. It was miracles that when the twins arrived, and they were so tiny. And we would go into the NICU and just be able to put our hands in, it was a glove within the incubator. And that that something that tiny lives to become a mother themselves and has twins is amazing. It's really amazing. That I got to be there for Austin and for JR and for Jasmine. Were pretty amazing. They were pretty amazing. So it's an interesting thing though. As an adult, do I believe that Jesus was on the screen? You know what? I don't know. I can't tell you he wasn't, because I didn't get to go. I can't tell you that everyone saw him. I couldn't. But I can tell you this. And this is coming with time. All of you know that I worked for 20 years for a major liquor chain in Texas, and it was a great job. I will never ever say it wasn't a great job. It was a hard job, but it wasn't a bad job. It was a great job. And it was something that I really enjoyed doing at the time. I really did love being able to travel, being able to do everything that I needed to do for this job. But it was a every day meet this goal. Every day push farther than the goal. Every day do as much as you could possibly do. And so that kind of drains you sometimes. Sometimes it does. And now that I've been retired for I think 4 years, maybe 3, I don't remember, because I went from being the district manager back into the store, which I really kind of liked a little bit, except the manager was totally a waste of time, and that was a little bit difficult for me, not saying what I knew, but it was fun to meet customers again, and fun to sell wine again. So one of the things though that I am learning here every day is that joy comes in ordinary things. not the goal, not getting past the goal. It's the destination that should bring you joy, or not the destination, but the the route you're traveling to get to the destination. You should be happy whenever you hear birds like this, and you should stop and you should listen for just a moment. Take a moment out of that fast-paced life and listen. Spend a lot of time in nature. That's important. That's very, very, very important. Now, my garden has now become a sanctuary for butterflies and bees and birds. And what do I mean by has become? Because I've been a gardener for a long, long time. But instead of putting in flowers that are beautiful, and they are beautiful, um, I've let it go wild. And the two plots in front of my house are exactly that, wild gardens. And while they look a little unkempt, they're not. They are actually quite planned out by myself to attract everything that I want in front of me, so that whenever I'm looking at this great TV in front of me that is so beautiful, I get to see the birds and the butterflies and the bees, and I take joy in that. I take joy in the fact that I get to sit in this rocking chair and talk to my grandchildren, even though I can't see them every day like I used to. I get to talk to them, and hopefully um, they'll remember me in the end as someone who loved them very much, who loved them very, very, very much. I loved my kids so much, and even though I had a great career, I won awards in my career, I went places in my career. That was a secondary career. The primary career was my kids and the grandkids. And that career, that primary career, was the best thing I've ever done. Best thing I've ever done. And I know I've left the world people who are going to continue on and create things and do things that will affect someone. Maybe not everybody, but at least one person with goodness. And that's important to me. But remember that ordinary days, ordinary moments are important, and you need to stop for them, and you need to plan for them, and you need to realize that time is moving on, and you need to put in as much self-time as possible. I know you have to earn a living, I do, but you know, the living is not who you are, it pays for who you are. And that's what a lot of people just don't understand. They just don't understand. The title, the award, the being the boss, all that stuff is nonsense if you aren't feeling some joy within your day. And that's very, very important. So you're going to have to learn to live in that place where between rich and poverty, that you're happy and everything meets together. And that's something my generation was not allowed to do. We were always on the get plan. So be I don't know what you people are. You're not millennials, but whatever you are after that, don't fall into whining. Do your work. Do your work well while you're doing your work, but then stop and put your work aside and do what you want to do for the rest of your time in a 24-hour period. If it's sitting on your back porch and just looking up at the sky, great. If it is art or a hobby, great. If it is hiking and finding things to do, great. Find joy in those things. Find joy in those things. And I want you to know that I found so much joy in being your grandparent. I found so much joy in daughters who and sons who allowed me to uh, grandparent their children and take them and do crazy things with them. That brought me the greatest gifts in my whole life. So I love you, my grandchildren. Always remember that. And for anyone else who doesn't have a grandparent to love them, I'll love you too. Thanks, guys. Bye.